Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's going to be a bit of a different, not a different video, kind of back to what I used to do. Instead of doing a vlog today, I'm going to be explaining what a pain management program is and why I choose to go on one. Yeah, without further ado, we'll get into the video. Okay, so a pain management program, or as I'm going to be referring to it for most of the video, a PMP, is a program that can be inpatient, outpatient or day patient. I'll explain the difference between those three. It aims to manage your pain better, not get rid of your pain, not make your pain less, but manage it better. And the difference between, and that's a common kind of question and misunderstanding that people have, and I know it's one that my mum thought definitely about mine. She thought it would be kind of a cure-all and I'd be fine. It isn't like that at all. Basically, when you're living with a long-term pain condition, there's very few drugs to treat it, and this pain management program aims to help you balance out your lifestyle, to learn that it's okay to exercise, to do cooking, cleaning, as long as you pace yourself and you can manage it, and you don't increase your pain levels and end up in a cycle called boom and bust. I'll explain that in a minute as well. So basically, there's a variety of different types. So as I said, there's inpatient, day patient, and outpatient. So my program was more of a day patient kind of type, and it is a 16-day young adult specialist program. So my program was more of a day patient case. So I was there for the whole day for, well, in the first 2 weeks for 4 days a week, and then in the last 4 weeks, 2 days a week. So how it works is like that. Other programs, you stay in hospital and you're there similar. You do therapy on a similar timescale to when you do it, but instead you stay in the hospital. As I lived quite far away from Liverpool, I stayed in a hotel and we got taxis in and out every day. But there was other people on my course that lived closer to Liverpool and they got their own kind of way in every day. So it's considered more of a day patient because you stay kind of part of the hospital for the duration of your time, but you're not staying overnight in hospital, you're coming in every day instead. So that's day patient. Kind of outpatient ones are a little less intensive. They might be for like half a day or a day once a week. And the ones that I kind of do run ones like that, but I chose that I wanted to have a more intensive one because of uni. Because if I was having to go somewhere every day, every week for 5 weeks or whatever, well, or for longer, and going home every week just for one day that wasn't necessarily tailored to my needs, I felt like it would just put a huge load on me, physically and mentally. So I chose to go on a 16-day program instead at the Walton Centre, and because it was young adults, no one was older than 26 on my program, which is really, really good because you have very similar experiences to each other. You understand. There's people that had finished uni, so they knew kind of what I was going through in uni. There's people that, you know, had different life paths. So it was really good, and we had a really small group as well. There was, I think, 7 of us to begin with, so that was really good. It meant that we all kind of got to know each other really well and got like kind of a really good relationship, which meant you could talk really openly. So what does a pain management program entail? So in my case, it was made up of kind of 4 areas: physio, occupational therapy, and mindfulness, because that was done by the occupational therapists, psychology, and then medical talks. So they were spread throughout kind of the day. We'd have medical talks kind of, I think, once a week. They were really, really helpful because they helped you understand your body and why you were in the situation you were. And it wasn't just, oh, you're in pain. And they explained the differences between chronic and acute. So that was amazing. Psychology, it's not looking at, oh, your pain's all in your head, you're just crazy. nothing like that. It's more, the whole definition of pain is that it's an unpleasant emotional and physical experience, I think, something like that. So obviously emotionally, when you're in chronic pain, you have massive effects on your emotion, and it does massively affect your life. So a lot of the psychology was kind of talking about that, recognizing your emotions, being able to look at your thinking styles and how you process things in order to be able to help you process things better, and so that your life wasn't an emotional roller coaster as well as a physical roller coaster. And physio was looking at kind of strengthening, conditioning, like reconditioning yourself, rather than, oh, do all these exercises and you'll be cured. And that's the real difference between a pain management program and something like a rehab program. Rehab programs might teach you to walk again if you can't walk. A pain management program doesn't teach you to re-walk. They might teach you how to walk more normally, because there's no need to be holding your back if you've got back pain when you're chronic back pain when you're walking, because it doesn't do anything. It's been built into you from when you had probably your initial injury, and those coping mechanisms aren't needed anymore. So physio is more about getting enjoyment in exercise and knowing that it's okay to do exercise a little every day and build it up. But it's still important to not overdo yourself, and that's what kind of the occupational therapy kind of focused on. So that focused on kind of balancing your lifestyle as well, pacing yourself. So that's really, really important when you have a chronic pain condition, because a lot of people can get stuck in a cycle called boom and bust. And I also got stuck in this cycle. And the boom and bust cycle is basically when the easiest way to describe it is you do loads and your pain goes up the roof, like crazy pain levels. So then you stay in bed for a few days and you rest, and your pain goes back down, and then you're feeling better, so you do loads again, and that cycle repeats itself. So instead, what the pain management program tries to teach you to do is to level it out. So you might have like little fluctuations, but what you shouldn't be doing is doing tons and being in tons of pain and then doing nothing. Even when you're flaring, you should try and do a little bit of exercise, try and do a little bit of something. So that's what the pain management program kind of aims to do overall, is to balance out your life, make your life with pain more manageable, more livable, versus, oh, we're gonna cure your pain. So that's kind of the ins and outs of the program. So mine in particular, like I said, was a young adults. It was 16 days. So the way that it was structured, this isn't the same for every 16-day program. This isn't the same for every pain management program. This is mine. And the way that mine was structured is we had 2 weeks before Christmas. I'm filming this in the beginning of February, so I've actually completely finished the program now. But the way that mine worked was that we had 2 weeks of 4 days a week, so that makes half of your time on the program, and we had hours before Christmas, so I think we had like 3 weeks, something like that, 3-4 weeks off, and then we went back to the program for another 4 weeks, and this time we did 2 days a week. But from that you do 9, I think it's about 9 till 4:30. The days kind of vary. And then as part of it, additionally, on top of the 4 areas that I mentioned, we had a family and friends afternoon where your family kind of, or a friend is invited in, and they kind of help them and you understand of how you communicate your pain and your like condition, and what people can do to help you to that person, and kind of help you understand what that person feels like. And that was again really hugely helpful. So overall, the reason I chose to do a pain management program was because I was at a kind of a crossroads in my life. I knew that I couldn't keep going on in the pattern that I was going on anymore, which was that cycle of booming and busting, but I kind of didn't know what to do, and my pain was just getting kind of ridiculously overwhelming, to an extent that I was struggling to keep up doing things. So I wanted to be able to be happier kind of with my life and not feel like my life was just being all consumed by pain. And I kind of had to go onto long-term medication, or hoped that this pain management program could help me better manage my pain and also my emotions for that matter. And I'll leave that, whether it's worked or not, or how I think I've progressed in the program, to another video, because I'm planning on kind of splitting this up so that you get a picture of how it actually works. So that's basically in a nutshell what a pain management program is. I think the final thing I'm going to do, I just have to go and get it, is I'm going to show you a timetable of kind of a typical day on both the first phase, which is called phase 1, and then the final phase, which was phase 3. So I'm just going to go get that and then we will return. Alright, so this folder here, sorry, I'm just rearranging my leg stool. This folder here is what I refer to as my pain Bible. It needs organising. The folder was a mess, but we got given them on the programme, and in it contains all the resources and the handouts that we did. This is our timetables. We were given these at the beginning of each of the phases. So they have, this was phase 1's, so it's got 2 weeks worth on it, and then the other one has the 4 weeks. So kind of how it worked during phase 1 is most of the time you would have 1 to 2 occupational therapy sessions. One of these would normally be mindfulness, so that would be a proper meditation where you would sit down, the occupational therapist would talk and talk about kind of focusing on your breathing, focusing on, what did we do, a body scan. I don't really like those, they made my throat hurt more, and things like that, and it was making yourself more aware like where you actually are in pain and things like that. And then we would normally have 1 to 2 psychology sessions depending on kind of what day it was. So that was kind of one session in the gym. So that would be a 1-hour session, and they don't really recommend for kind of pain sufferers, unless you can obviously do more, to do more than kind of an hour a day, because otherwise you over strenuate yourself and then you end up in a flare. So yeah, that was kind of how it worked. We normally have, I think it would be 5 sessions a day, so 5 hours of therapy a day, if you want to call it that. And then on Thursdays we would normally finish earlier, and Thursday mornings you would have a medical talk and a physiotherapy talk. So the medical talk would focus more on kind of the mechanisms of pain. So one of them in phase 1 was nerves, and the other one was muscles and pain, that kind of muscle pain and nerve pain. And then the physiotherapy talk would be explaining how your body works, so like joints, ligaments, like formation of the spine, everything like that. So like I said, it was amazing. I literally love learning about things like that. And then the other one was flare-ups and movement, and how it's not necessarily recommended that you have total rest now. If you have chronic pain, you have what they call active rest, which is doing less than you would normally do because you're in a flare, and continuing to push on through a flare will just cause you to collapse in awful pain. But also having like to take a step back, but still continuing to do something, because otherwise you decondition and then you kind of end up back in boom and bust. And then on the second week we have our family and friends afternoon, but on the first week we didn't, we just finished at lunchtime, which was nice. So yeah, that was phase 1, and then phase 3, which was a bit more complicated. It was a bit more higgledy-piggledy and all over the place. You would, again, probably have like 1 to 2 occupational therapy or psychology sessions that go, but you have less mindfulness and more occupational therapy rather than it being all mindfulness. We would have mindfulness pretty much we'd have it 3 times a day. Is it? Yes. We would have it 3 times a week in phase 1 phase 2 we would only have it once in the 2 days that we were there. And then we would have, instead of having one on the Tuesday, which was kind of the first day we were there, we would have one exercise session, which would be in the gym, and then the Wednesday we would have a normal movement or Pilates session. So we would learn kind of how our body's supposed to move, and then Pilates obviously helps you strengthen your core muscles, which is really like key in chronic pain, because no matter kind of where you're affected with chronic pain, your core muscles will always pretty much be affected. And then we would also have, which was my favourite bit of physiotherapy, we would have a hydrotherapy session, which wasn't just kind of doing really slow movements in water. 4 and 5 we had a medical talk, so we had another 2 medical talks, and we also had 1 physiotherapy talk. So yeah, it was a lot more kind of, not messed around, but it was a lot more varied than phase 3. But you still had kind of a bit of a routine, which was good. It did feel a little bit like school, not gonna lie, because how it would work at the Walton Centre in particular, you would go in, you would sign in at the reception desk, you would walk into the kitchen, you would go and get your lanyard and your locker key. The lanyard had your name on it, so that anyone on the pain programme, whether a volunteer who helps staff our kitchen, because we had lots of breaks as well, that's like kind of a key part of the programme. The volunteers are amazing, they've done the pain management programme. We would have our locker keys as well, so that we could put our stuff somewhere that was secure, like our phones and things like that. So that would be on our lanyards, and then yeah, we had names on our lanyards, so everyone knew what to call us. 1 or 2 sessions in the morning, depending on what phase we were on. Then we'd have morning break, which was half an hour. The volunteers would make us tea, toast. Sometimes we'd bring in cakes and things for each other to eat. Then we would have another session. Was it another 2 sessions? Wait a second. Was it always another session? Yeah, it was just another session, I think, yeah. So we just had another session, then we would have lunch, which was 45 minutes, and then we would go on, then we would have either another 1 to 2 sessions in the afternoon with a afternoon break. Alright, so I think that's everything I wanted to talk about in this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have, give it a thumbs up, because then it tells me that you want to see more kind of medical videos. Because obviously my channel's a bit varied, and I kind of mess around with what I decide to do every kind of day. Not every day, every time I post, I guess. So yeah, if you did enjoy it, give it a like, and yeah, subscribe if you haven't already, because then you'll get to see even more of my videos. And then all that's left for me to say is I hope you have a really good day, and I will see you in the next video.